welcome back to my channel. I'm Susie, the owner and creator here at Susie on the Farm. In today's video, I have some fun thrift store makeovers for you, as well as a fun furniture flip. But before we do that, I want to remind you of my Whatnot sale. That is this Friday, the 11th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Y'all, I have found some amazing vintage things for you all, and be sure you click on the link down in the description. That'll give you a $15 credit to shop my Whatnot show, and when you sign up for Whatnot. So let's go ahead and get started with today's projects. I hope you enjoy them. For today's projects, we are going to be working with the Crimson Velvet Transfer Book. This is from the new IOD Holiday Collection release. So I recently found this, it's got a music box in it. It is a book. At first I thought it was a like resin book, but as I'm painting it and working with it and getting my hands on it, I'm realizing that it is actually a Reader's Digest book that someone has Mod Podged. They drilled a hole and they put the music box inside. So how cool is that? And it saved me all those steps. I paid $4.99 at the thrift store for this, and I am painting it in 2 coats of Fusion's brand new color called Tapestry. Fusion has 7 new colors that are available on my website, and also I just got restocked with all the IOD holiday. So be sure, if you didn't get what you wanted, get in there and grab those now, because they will not last long. As of right now, I still have some when I'm doing this voiceover Wednesday afternoon. So I'm going to put this gorgeous wreath in this book after the paint is all dry. To make it easier to put in, I am going to cut it in half so I can get up really close to the spine with both of the pieces. But this is super easy. Anytime you paint with Fusion paint, which has a built-in sealer, the IOD transfers go on so easy. And here's where I realized that this was actually a book, because as I'm pressing down on this, I can feel the pages kind of crack beneath, if that makes any sense. So someone worked really hard on putting this book together like this. Even though I didn't care much for the image that was on it, I do love, love, love this book. So I'm just going to use the tool that comes with it and ride the wave and transfer this onto the book. And then I will do the other half, match it up, and do the other half. I'm going to burnish it in with my fingers there. I did also paint the rope or the ribbon or whatever that goes down the book. I may end up cutting that off and replacing it with a velvet ribbon. I think that would be super pretty. But for now, I'm going to leave it, and I will go ahead and paint it red. You'll see here in just a minute. So once I get these transferred on, the next step I am going to do, I'm going to put a bow on it as well. I'm going to do the same thing with the bow that I did with the wreath and cut it in half and then match them up there in the center. And then once I get them all transferred on, I'll take the backing and burnish it in. Did not notice until I was editing this video that as I was burnishing in the bow, apparently there was a little piece lifted and it came up with the plastic backing. But y'all, I honestly didn't even know it, even when I was taking the photos of this and the video, until I started editing this video. I could go back in with some red paint and fill that in, and I probably will, and I might even put a velvet bow on it, but you'll see that here in just a minute. So sometimes mistakes happen. Everything is not always perfect. That is the beauty of DIY and do-it-yourself projects. They're never going to be perfect, and that's okay. Here's where it happens. See, I don't even know how that happened, but you can barely tell it. And like I said, I could go back in with some paint. I did go ahead and paint the rope on this red, and then I am going to just take some antique gold rub and buff, and I'm going to just kind of dry brush it onto the book pages. I want to bring some of that gold back in like they had on here before, but I'm just going to dry brush this onto the book pages, give it a little shimmer and a little shine, and I also did put a couple of those stars on there as well. And then lastly, to finish this off, I'm going to take my dark wax brush. I did not even get the dark wax out. I just used what was on the brush. So I didn't want to make it look really dirty, but I did want to give it just a little bit of vintage charm. So I went over the red rope and the entire book with my wax brush and then wiped it all back with a paper towel. And this project is done, and it is so sweet, and I'm going to let y'all hear the beautiful little music box with it. For our second project today, I picked up this Christmas tin. I liked the shape and the size of it. It was only 99 cents. So I scraped off the tag and cleaned it up. I took it outside and I sprayed it with a coat of shellac. I just wanted to make sure that this paint stuck really well, because sometimes on metal tin, you'll have to do an extra coat. So I figure I'll do a coat of shellac and then just 2 coats of paint. So I, again, am using the tapestry color, the new fusion color. This may turn out to be my next favorite off-white. I might replace Chateau, but I'm loving this color. I'm going to paint the entire box and the lid with 2 coats. And then once the paint is dry, we're going to bring in a couple of the tall transfers from the Crimson Velvet book. We have this gorgeous candlestick, and it is a perfect fit on the side of this tin, and then the Christmas tree on the back side. I like to do front and back just to change things up a bit, where you can turn something around if you get tired of one image and then you have another. For the Christmas tree, I felt like it also did need a bigger star, and I had one laying right there, so I went ahead and put a new star on the Christmas tree. And then I have another little easy little flip to go with this project. I might as well put a transfer on the lid too, because I always end up with so much transfers left, and so this year I promised myself I'm going to use up all my transfers. I did seal this in with Big Top, DIY Big Top. I sealed everything in, and these are some candlesticks that I just got today at the thrift store. They were 99 cents each, and they are wood, and they're dry. They're very dry, so I wanted to give them a drink. I like the color as is. I think they're very vintage looking. So I just took some of my Fusion Antiquing Glaze and went over the whole thing, give it a little bit of a drink, and then once it dries, or after a few minutes, I will wipe it back with a paper towel, and then once it dries completely, I will put a coat of beeswax on it. This wood was so dry, I just really wanted to give it a good drink so it would last many, many more years to come. And then I just put some taper candles. I tied a gorgeous crushed green velvet ribbon around them, and they look so sweet with this tin. What do you guys think about this easy thrift flip? next project is another easy flip. I had these two little matching gold frames in my stash, and I had been undecided about what to do with them until I saw these small transfers in the Crimson Velvet pack. There is all kinds of different shapes and sizes, and these fit almost perfectly in here. To begin with, I cut out some watercolor paper to use as the backing. I just used the paper that was in it to do it, and then I transferred the images onto the backing. Now, one of them was a perfect fit for the frame. I didn't need to do anything else. But the second one was a little bit of area around it. And to camouflage that, I just took some black velvet DIY paint and went all the way around the image. And you can't even tell once you get it in the frame. So here I am doing that. I did not bother sealing any of these in because they are going to be behind glass. They should not get any water. I did have to do 2 coats of this, and I just kind of swirled it around to blend it in with the background, but you really can't tell once it dries. DIY paint does dry lighter than it actually looks in the jar. So once this dried, you could not even tell. And finally, to finish these off, I loved the gold on the frames, but I did feel like some of those details got lost, and you can't really tell on camera, but there was a few little white spots. So to fix that, I took a little bit of the Fusion Aging Wax, put it all over the frame, and then wiped it back with a paper towel. Not only did it dull down that shine just a little bit, but it stayed in all those little detail areas and made those stand out more, and I think they just turned out perfect. Here is the difference between the one with the wax and one without the wax. The change is very subtle, but it is very well needed. See, look at the difference there and just how much more vintage these look now. And these transfers are so beautiful and so elegant. I pull up today at the store and there's a yard sale in my parking lot. I was gonna go hunt a yard sale, didn't have to go far. Anyway, I picked up this children's table and bench, so cute. I did pay $40 for it, but it's solid wood in excellent condition. Just needs some Susie on the Farm love, which is what I'm gonna go ahead and do today. No point in wasting time, right? So for right now, I'm getting it cleaned up. See, there's a lot of dirt. I've already sprayed everything down good with Cud Cutter. I will have to patch a place right here. But other than that, everything is good. This has got to be nailed back in place. Yeah, just nail it since they've already got the holes filled in. So I wasn't planning on doing this flip, but here we are. I'm not sanding this a lot, but there was a few little drips and places from previous paint job that I need to get off. So I'm just making sure everything is good and smooth on these pieces before I start painting. And then I also need to fix the little place on the chair. For that, I am going to just use some wood glue. I'm just going to squeeze it down in there. And then I'm going to use some Bondo to fill in that spot. I'm going to sit out in the sun and let it dry. Shouldn't take too long. Or this is wood putty, not Bondo. But it is paintable. So I just filled that in. I let it dry, and then I will sand it, hand sand it smooth. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get started painting this table. I did decide to leave the bench natural and probably sell it separate, but for the chairs and the tabletop, I'm going to use Cottage Colors in the color Juniper. I love this deep green color. It's like a forest green. When you get your Cottage Colors, you do want to stir them up really well because it has a built-in sealer and that will settle in on the bottom. I didn't have to stir this one too much because it just came here on the truck, but so I'm sure it's been moved around plenty. But I did end up doing 3 coats, and I did decide to leave the legs of the table in the natural wood, other than I did go over them with some antiquing glaze just to make sure they were all even. But I did 3 coats on the tables, the tabletop, and the chairs, and then we're going to move on to the next step. And y'all, this turned out so cute. I can't wait to show you what I did on the top of this table, and I hope you like it. So it is the next day now, and everything is dry. And I don't know if y'all know, but I have 2 3-year-old grandsons who are learning their ABCs, and it is so fun to watch them learn. And I thought this children's table would be perfect with the ABCs on it. And I played around with the typesetting stamps, and y'all, they fit perfectly with the capital and the lowercase all the way around this table. If that is not a sign, I don't know what is. So I'm stamping this on very carefully. I am using IOD permanent white ink, and I'm stamping just like I always do. I'll hold one hand down in place. I clean my stamps when they are still on the backing to keep them nice and clean and usable. And I'm just carefully stamping all the way around. It's not perfect. There will be some times where they're not lined up perfectly, but the thin mount does help with that. And if I do get any ink anywhere else on the table, I'm just wiping it off as I go before it dries. And this turned out really, really cute. So while I was at it, I thought, well, we have the ABCs on here. What is something else that they like a whole lot? And that is definitely animals. So I got out my farm animal stamp, birds and bees, butterflies, all of the things that I could think of. I wanted to put a cat and a dog on there, but I didn't want it to be Christmas, so I just did the few that you will see here in just a minute. And I also stamped them on using the white permanent ink. And then I felt like the center of the table also needed some color. So I just did a few flowers and layered them on from the Collage des Fleurs transfer pack. I did 3 good coats of a glossy sealer over this. I want it to be really durable because the kids are probably going to mark all over it and color all over it, and I want to be able to clean it up. So as you can see here, have all the little animals and bees and butterflies and birds, just to give the boys something to look at. Thank y'all so much for watching my video today. Be sure, if you enjoyed it, to please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment below, even if it's just to let me know what you liked in this video or even what you didn't like in this video. Leave me a comment. Make sure you're subscribed and ring that notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. Let's see. All of the IOD is restocked on the website as of right now. If you didn't get your Christmas holiday collection, you can go and get that there, Susie on the Farm. And don't forget about my Whatnot sale to Friday night at 6. I will have another video Friday morning, hopefully. But I will see y'all then. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, and I hope that you have enjoyed all of these thrift lips.